Okay, here's our video on integer introduction. Okay, so let's go through this. We have two learning targets today. First learning target is students can describe positive and negative integers. And our second learning target is students can describe real-world situations with integers. Okay, make sure you write that down. Make sure you put this in the margin at the top so that we can see it. Okay, so we can find it later when I'm grading it. All right, I'm going to move down. Here's our definition. What is an integer? An integer is all whole numbers and their opposites. What do I mean by opposites? I mean negative whole numbers. Okay, and 0. The next definition is positive integer. A positive integer is all the integers greater than 0. A negative integer is all your integers less than 0. Okay? Remember that your integers are whole amounts and not partial amounts. Okay? 0 is neither positive nor negative, so you need to remember that. Okay? 0 is neither positive nor negative. Okay? Make sure you have those definitions written down, and when you do, you can move on. Alright, in our first example, all we are going to do is identify integers. So I'm going to go through this big jumble here, and we're going to identify what are the integers. Remember, integers are whole numbers, positive or negative. 15, that's a whole number. That's good. Negative 12, that's a whole amount. That's a negative. That's okay. It's a whole amount. That's good. 9 twelfths. No, that reduces to 3/4, so that's not an integer. Alright, 9.8, not an integer because it's a decimal. Okay, next one is negative 3.2. That is not a whole amount. That's a partial amount, so that is not an integer. Right? 0 is an integer. It's positive and negative whole amounts and 0. Negative 25 tenths. No, that reduces to negative 2.5. So no, that is not a whole amount. That's a partial. Okay, negative 65. Yes, 65 is a whole amount. So negative, that's okay. Negative 65. 24, that's a whole amount. So that is an integer. 15 thirds, no, that is not an integer. Alright? Yes, it is an integer. Excuse me. 15 divided by 3 equals 5. That makes that a whole amount. So that is an integer. Okay? That's how you identify integers. If they are whole amounts, positive and negative. Alright, example 2. Placing them on a number line. Okay, so I have my numbers down here that I want to place on my number line. So negative 18. When I'm counting here, I go 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. Move on. There's negative 10. Keep moving. Negative 18 is about right there. So I'm going to put my mark. Okay. Next is 7. 7 goes this way. That's going to be about right here. So I'm going to mark that one 7. Next we have 9. That's going to be between 7 and 10. So 9 is going to go there. Negative 4. That's just about halfway between 0 and negative 10, but not quite. It's going to be right there. That's negative 4. Then we have 15. 15 is going to be halfway between 10 and 20. So 15 will go right there. And then the last we have negative 11. And that's going to be just past negative 10. It's to the left, guys. Alright, it's the opposite of when you're positives. When you're going to the right, you're going to the left now. So it's negative 10. Negative 11 is just on the other side of that. And that is placing on a number line. Okay? And you can pause, go ahead, otherwise I move on to the last example. In our last example, integers in a real-world situation, integers are just numbers. You don't write any variables or anything. Okay? So gain of 22 yards. A gain is meaning that's positive. So the answer here would just be 22. Okay? B, 200 feet below sea level. Okay, below, meaning it's going down. So this is going to be negative 200. Okay, so if it goes down, that's negative. If it goes up, that's positive. C, a deposit of $150. Deposit means that you're putting it into your bank account. Okay, and that means that you're increasing the amount of money that you have in the bank. So that is a positive 150. Now we can write positives with a plus in front or not. So you could write it like that, or you could write it like this, but we usually write it with just 150. Last one here, a withdrawal of $75. Withdrawal means you're taking it out, so you're lowering the amount of money that you have. So that's going to be negative 75. Notice I have no labels with our integers. So when I ask you to represent something with an integer, you're just writing the number. You are not writing the label that goes with it. Okay, that is all for the video. If you need to go back and rewind anything, go ahead. Otherwise, have a great night.